very good morning to all our viewers. I'm Smriti Rastogi with Breakfast News. In the next half an hour, we will get you all the latest news and updates from international, national and sports front. But before getting you all the details, a quick look at the top headlines. Last day of budget session, Prime Minister says it has been a winner for the Treasury. Rajya Sabha passed 14 bills, Lok Sabha 21. Opposition delegation to meet President to flag concerns over the EVMs. Congress urges Election Commission to review its stand. India's stern message to Pakistan over the death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav. Home Minister assures Parliament Centre will do all it can to give him justice. CBI's preliminary inquiry against Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain, probe into allegations of money laundering. And PV Sindhu to lead India's challenge at Singapore Open to begin campaign against unseeded Nozomi Okuhara today. Today is the last day of the budget session of Parliament. The session was split into two parts. The first part began on 31st January and ended on 9th of February. During this period, the general budget was presented. It was the first time that the rail budget was merged with the union budget. Also, the budget session was advanced for the first time by a month. The second part of the session began on 9th March and ends today. In this part of the session, the crucial GST bills were passed. Overall, the session was constructive, with Lok Sabha passing 21 bills and the Rajya Sabha 14. Among other important bill was also the OBC bill that was cleared. Prime Minister Modi described the budget session as a winner for the Treasury benches. In his address to the BJP Parliamentary Party meeting on Tuesday, he said that there is a positive public mood in favor of the ruling dispensation as it completes its third anniversary next month. He said that this is a golden opportunity for the party to lift the lives of the poor and the deprived and to commit to more development and reforms.
पिछले 3 साल में भारत सरकार के नेतृत्व में सबने मिलकर के जो हमने 14 में आशाएं जगाए थे, उस आशाओं आज एक विश्वास के रूप में वो बन गए हैं, ये भी उन्होंने सबके सामने रखा.
Meanwhile, the Election Commission has ordered repolling in 38 polling stations of Srinagar Lok Sabha seat. These polling stations fall under Chhadura, Budgam, Birwa, Khan Sahib and Chirari Sharif Assembly constituencies. The polling will be held tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. The Commission took the decision after going through the reports submitted by returning officers and observers. The polling for the Lok Sabha seat was held on last Sunday. Chief Electoral Officer Shant Manu said that the Election Commission's decision on repolling was taken for those centres where polling was hit by violence. The counting will be held on 15th of April. The Congress party has yet again urged the Election Commission to review its stand on the EVMs and try to look for alternatives to put to rest concerns raised by the political parties that voting machines can be tampered with. Senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram said all political parties, including the BJP, have at some point of time raised serious doubts on impenetrability of the EVMs, and his party has suggested various alternatives which the poll body should emulate. He also added that Election Commission should not reject their proposal without considering it. Chidambaram said, as per the memorandum submitted by opposition parties, there is an overwhelming evidence that EVMs can be tampered with and they are vulnerable to being manipulated. In addition, leaders of the opposition parties are scheduled to meet President Pranab Mukherjee today to flag their concerns over the issue of EVM, along with matters like law and order, freedom of speech and growing cow vigilantism. The delegation will comprise leaders of various political parties led by the Congress and will include the left and the TMC, DMK, NCP, JDU, RJD, SP and BSP among others. A senior Congress leader said that the opposition would urge the president's intervention to rein in the forces disturbing the social and cultural equilibrium. And voting is underway for by-polls to the Lok Sabha seat of Malappuram in Kerala and the Assembly constituency of Upper Burthuk in Sikkim. The Malappuram seat felt vacant following the death of the former Union Minister and IUML leader E. Ahmed. Over 13 lakh voters are likely to exercise their franchise. The main contenders for the seat are Congress-led UDF candidate P.K. Khunhalikuttu of Indian Union Muslim League, CPIM candidate M.B. Faisal of ruling LDF and BJP's N. Sri Prakash. In Sikkim, voter verifiable paper audit trail are being used for the first time. More than 13,000 voters are expected to exercise their right to vote in Sikkim. The results will be declared on 15th of April. The Bharatiya Janata Party has fielded Suresh Khanal Sharma for the Upper Burthuk seat, while the Congress has fielded Sushmita Rai for the by-polls. India has sent a stern message to Pakistan on Tuesday of dire consequences if it went on to execute Indian national Kulbhushan Jadhav on charges of being a raw spy. Speaking on the matter in Rajya Sabha, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj maintained that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing by Jadhav and that India will leave no stone unturned to save him. Members across the party lines expressed concerns over the reprehensible Pakistan's action.
I would caution the Pakistan government to consider the consequences for our bilateral relationship if they proceed on this matter.
External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj issuing a clear warning to Pakistan in Rajya Sabha. Calling the trial of Kulbhushan Jadhav in Pakistan a farce, Swaraj said that carrying out the death penalty will be an act of premeditated murder. The minister also apprised the House that the Indian High Commission was informed only 3 hours after the verdict was pronounced. She further said Jadhav, who is being accused of being an Indian spy by Pakistan, was not given consular access.
They linked providing consular access to our acceptance of their position. Nevertheless, in the hope that some forward movement could be made, our response was constructive. We pointed out that consular access to Shri Jadhav would be an essential prerequisite in order to verify the facts and understand the circumstances of his presence in Pakistan.
Cutting across party lines, members expressed grave concern and urged the government to take all measures to secure justice for Jadhav.
तो क्या हमारी सरकार उसमें पूरी मदद करे कि ऐसे वकील उसके पास हों जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट में उसकी वहां की सुप्रीम कोर्ट में उसकी पूरी मदद करें, अदालत में ही हम जीत जाएं।
ये बड़ी गंभीर बात है। ये खाली हिंदुस्तान की चुनौती नहीं है, हमारे यहाँ तमाम आतंकवादी बंद हैं, हम उनको पाल रहे हैं, पोस रहे हैं, उनकी खातिर कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जिस तरीके से एक जाधव को उन्होंने हिंदुस्तान का एजेंट बनाकर फांसी की सजा सुना दी, ये देश को चैलेंज है।
Pakistan claims it arrested Jadhav after he entered Balochistan from Iran in March 2016. It further accuses Jadhav of being a research and analysis wing agent with plans to sabotage the $46 billion China-Pakistan economic corridor. On Monday, New Delhi summoned Pakistani High Commissioner Abdul Basit and handed over a démarche describing the court proceedings as farcical, and it also put on hold a scheduled release of several Pakistani prisoners that was to take place on Wednesday. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Lok Sabha also came together and criticized Pakistan for unlawfully framing Indian citizen Kulbhushan Jadhav and awarding him the death sentence. The centre condemned Pakistan's action and promised to take all steps possible to protect Jadhav.
In the Lok Sabha, the centre on Tuesday condemned Pakistan's decision to hang Kulbhushan Jadhav. Making a statement, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said the government will do everything possible to get justice for Jadhav. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj also warned Islamabad that Jadhav's execution will harm bilateral relations.
यदि वैलिड इंडियन पासपोर्ट मिला है तो स्पाई कैसे हो सकता है, यह बात समझ में नहीं आती है। सजा जो सुनाई गई है, अध्यक्ष महोदया, भारत सरकार उसे स्ट्रांगली कंडेम करती है और मैं यह भी सदन को आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं, जो लॉ एंड जस्टिस के बेसिक नॉर्म्स होते हैं उसको बिना ध्यान में रखे यह फांसी की सजा उन्हें सुना दी गई है कुलभूषण जाधव को, और सदन को मैं आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं चाहे इसके लिए जो भी करना पड़े भारत सरकार वह करेगी और कुलभूषण जाधव के साथ न्याय होगा। अध्यक्ष महोदय,
That the government and people of India would view very seriously the possibility that an innocent Indian citizen is facing death sentence in Pakistan without due process and in violation of basic norms of law, justice and international relations. I would caution the Pakistan government to consider the consequences of our bilateral relationship if they proceed on this matter.
Raising the matter during question hour, a united Lok Sabha unanimously condemned Pakistan's decision and urged the government to take every step to save Jadav's life.
पाकिस्तान की मिलिट्री अदालत एक अदालत नहीं है बल्कि एक बनाना अदालत है, जहां पर बगैर किसी एविडेंस के, बगैर किसी प्रूफ के उन्होंने फैसला दिया है। यकीनन इस शख्स को, हमारे हिंदुस्तान के शहरी को एक धोखा देकर ईरान से उसको पकड़कर लाए और सारी दुनिया के सामने इस तरह का एक नाटक कर रहे हैं।
And the unity of this House and the unity of this country must be translated internationally. The fact is, we prefer not to internationalize our problems with Pakistan. But this is one time when what Pakistan is doing is not only an assault on India, it is an assault on the bonds of international law, of international conventions that affect everybody.
मेरा भारत सरकार से आग्रह है कि जिस तरह से हमारे नागरिक को उसने प्रताड़ित करने का प्रयास किया, उसको फांसी की सजा दी है, वो भारत सरकार एक्शन ले, पाकिस्तान को टेररिस्ट राष्ट्र घोषित करे और पूरी पार्लियामेंट एक सोच के साथ एक रिजोल्यूशन पास करे कि पाकिस्तान हमारे नागरिक को बाइज्जत बरी करे।
कुलभूषण को सजाए मौत की सजा पाकिस्तान ने दिया। पाकिस्तान आतंक की फैक्ट्री चला रहा है और आतंकियों का गढ़ बन चुका है और लगातार चेतावनी के बावजूद भी सुधरने वाला नहीं है।
Congress leader Mallikarjun Kharge said that if Pakistan hangs Jadhav, it will be pre-planned murder. Kharge blamed Prime Minister Narendra Modi for not taking up the matter strongly so far.
आप हमेशा जाकर बगैर इनविटेशन से पाकिस्तान के प्राइम मिनिस्टर के बच्ची के शादी में जाते हो, क्या इसके बारे में आप बातचीत नहीं कर सकते थे? क्या डायरेक्टली मिल नहीं सकते थे? क्या टेलीफोन पे आप बात नहीं कर सकते थे? और इनको अगर नहीं बचाएंगे, मैं ये समझूंगा ये सरकार की कमजोरी होगी और भारत की कमजोरी होगी।
India has maintained that Jadhav's trial and sentence was a farce, since there is no credible evidence against him. With Ravinder Sheran, Pranav Goswami's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
India has also said that it will go out of the way to ensure justice to Kulbhushan Jadhav and warned Pakistan that his execution will have consequences on bilateral ties. Political leaders cutting across party lines came together to condemn the development and pressing the government to take every step to help him.
Politicians cutting across party lines condemned Pakistan's brazen act of awarding the death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav. While External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj sounded a stern warning to Pakistan, Congress urged Prime Minister Narendra Modi to mount diplomatic pressure on Pakistan. In a Twitter message, Congress spokesperson Randeep Surjewala called the death sentence to Jadhav a deliberate provocation to India. The Shiv Sena also sought the intervention of the United Nations to secure the release of the retired Indian Navy officer.
कि हमारी सरकार इस पे बहुत ही कड़े कदम उठाए और यूनाइटेड नेशंस में हमें ये बात लेकर जानी चाहिए, रिप्रेजेंटेशन दबाव डालना चाहिए, अन्य देशों की भी मदद लेनी चाहिए और पाकिस्तान को एक्सपोज करना चाहिए.
In a retaliatory action, India has put on hold the release of a dozen Pakistani prisoners who were to be repatriated after they completed their prison term. The Ministry of External Affairs maintains that the Indian High Commission in Islamabad was not even informed about Jadhav's trial in court.
No, I think it's highly reassuring for all of us, for every Indian, that across the party lines, the Indian Parliament has shown a rare solidarity in raising its voice against the manner in which Pakistan has handled this case of Jadhav.
This is very unfortunate, and as far as MA is concerned, that is the stand by our government, and that reaction is already given. We are condemning this act.
Pakistan has defended the death sentence to Kulbhushan Jadhav. In a statement, it says soldiers and civilians of Pakistan have given sacrifices for this country, and their sacrifices demand us to give a befitting reply to terrorists and those who aid and facilitate them. Those plotting against Pakistan will not be spared. Meanwhile, protests are witnessed across the country against Pakistan's decision. The BJP and the MNS led protest marches in Mumbai demanding Jadhav's release. Muslim clerics also held similar protests in Lucknow. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And with that, we'll slip into a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Stay with us. Jade was popular during Mughal era and gained prominence during Akbar's rule in 15th and 16th century. It came all the way from Iran and Central Asia in attractive colors. The royalty had a unique use for it, since jade changed color when it came in contact with arsenic. They studded utensils like plates, jars, bowls and even hookah with it, and thereby avoided getting poisoned by rivals. Welcome back. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said that there will be a big transformation in Kashmir in a year. Speaking at an event in Mumbai, he said that the recent incidents of violence are the handiwork of forces in Pakistan who want to destabilize India. Rajnath Singh rejected the idea that there is a disillusionment with the PDP-BJP government in the state.
इसे हम सरकार से मोह भंग होना नहीं कहेंगे, बल्कि पाकिस्तान के द्वारा जिस प्रकार की नापाक हरकतें कश्मीर में अनरेस्ट पैदा करने की, भारत को डिस्टेबलाइज करने की जो चल रही हैं, उन्हीं हरकतों के कारण ऐसे हालात पैदा हुए हैं वहां पर। लेकिन मैं महीने 2 महीने की बात तो नहीं कहता हूं, लेकिन इस देश को कश्मीर के हालात में परिवर्तन विद इन ए ईयर दिखाई देगा और बड़ा परिवर्तन दिखाई देगा।
The CBI on Tuesday registered a preliminary inquiry against Delhi Health Minister Satyendra Jain to inquire into the allegations of money laundering against him. The inquiry was initiated after the matter was referred to the CBI by the Income Tax Department against the new Benami Transaction Prohibitions Act. Jain was allegedly involved in money laundering to the tune of 4.63 crore rupees while serving as a public servant during 2015 and 16. The allegations against Jain also included purported money laundering to the tune of 11.78 crore rupees during 2010 and 12 through 4 companies. The minister, however, has denied any wrongdoing and dismissed all the allegations against him.
ये सिर्फ मुझे फंसाने के लिए, दिल्ली सरकार के हेल्थ रिफॉर्म्स को डिरेल करने के लिए, जो पहली बारी इस तरह की चीज़ें की गई हैं उनको सबको रोकने के लिए। दवाइयाँ किसी देश की कोई सरकार देती है मुफ्त में? कहीं भी सरकार, कोई भी सरकार मुफ्त नहीं देती। अपने लिए थोड़ा जनता के लिए कर रहे हैं ना। अब जनता के लिए ऐसे काम करेंगे तो इस तरह की समस्याएं तो आएगी, और इन पॉलिटिशियंस को बड़ा दर्द हो रहा है, ये तो होगा। ये सिर्फ पॉलिटिकली मोटिवेटेड सारी चीज़ें हैं और पॉलिटिक्स है। अगर ये इलेक्शन नहीं होते कुछ नहीं होता। पंजाब इलेक्शन से पहले भी था, अब एमसीडी इलेक्शन से पहले। हम कोई काम करना बंद नहीं करेंगे, जो जनता से वादा करके आए हैं सारे काम करेंगे। इनको अरेस्ट करना कल का करते आज करें।
On to some more national developments. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has scrapped the Samajwadi Party's pension scheme initiated by the previous Akhilesh Yadav government. He has also ordered a probe into the selection of beneficiaries under the scheme and sought a report within a month. In future, the Mukhyamantri pension scheme will be introduced and beneficiaries from most Dalit communities will also be included. He has also sought a cabinet proposal to enhance pension amounts from 500 to 1,000 rupees being given to widows, handicapped and old age people. The Chief Minister has directed to chalk out a special welfare scheme for the scheduled tribals and the education of tribal children. Also, directions have been given to amend scholarship regulation to bring maximum students under it. And on to some international news. Britain's Defence Secretary Michael Fallon will arrive in India for a 4-day visit today. During his visit, he will take part in the first Indo-UK strategic dialogue. Fallon will be the 3rd UK cabinet minister to visit India this month after Chancellor of the Exchequer Philip Hammond and Energy Minister Greg Clark. He will join his counterpart Arun Jaitley for the first Indo-UK strategic dialogue, which was agreed in November 2015 during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to London as part of the Defence and International Security Partnership. He will also visit Mumbai and Delhi and hold meetings with senior Indian Defence Ministry officials, military staff and business leaders. He will be a special guest at a reception hosted by the British High Commissioner Dominic Asquith in Delhi. Rakhmat Akilov, a main suspect in the Stockholm truck attack that killed 4 people, has confessed to deliberately driving the stolen vehicle into crowds in the Swedish capital. The 39-year-old Uzbek admitted to committing a terrorist crime last week in which 15 people were also injured. The construction worker was arrested in Masta, a suburb north of Stockholm, where several hours after the attack, Akilov was brought into the heavily guarded court in handcuffs. Police say he was denied residency in Sweden in 2014 and had expressed sympathy for the Islamic State group. 2 Swedes, 1 Belgian and a Briton were the victims of the 7th April attack. 9 people remain hospitalized, 2 of them in serious condition. And the blame game is on over the chemical attack in Syria that killed 89 people and injured many others. The US continues to insist that the chemical attack on 4th April in Idlib province was carried out by the government of President Bashar al-Assad and that Russia knew of it beforehand. On Tuesday, the White House accused the Russian government of engaging in a cover-up of the chemical weapons attack. It said that US intelligence and numerous other reports confirmed that the Syrians used sarin gas on their own people and that Russia sought to confuse the world about the assault through the disinformation and false narratives. However, Russian President Vladimir Putin hit back, saying that Russian intelligence had information that there were plans to fake chemical weapon attacks in Syria. The bickerings came even as US Secretary of State Rex Tillerson arrived in Russia to challenge the Kremlin over its support for Assad. Meanwhile, a 2-day summit of G7 ministers in Italy ended in division over Syria. The UK proposed without success sanctions against Syrian and Russian military figures over the chemical attack.
We believe that Assad has used chemical weapons several times over the last several years, violated the international law that has prohibited their use since 1925. It was very clear that the Assad regime planned it, orchestrated it, and executed it. And beyond that, we can't say right now. We know what I just told you. We don't know anything beyond that. It will not spiral out of control. As you know, Secretary of State Tillerson is in Moscow. We maintain communications with the Russian military and with the diplomatic channels. It will not spiral out of control.
Соединенных Штатов в Совете Безопасности показывали якобы химическое оружие, обнаруженное в Ираке. После этого началась кампания в Ираке военная, а закончилась разрушением страны, ростом террористической угрозы и появлением.
What we've agreed is that we're going to put forward a resolution in the UN Security Council on the chemical weapons attack. We also want to see now the results of the investigation by the OPCW, the Organisation for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons, whose job it is to establish exactly what happened.
And news from Germany, where explosions hit a bus in Dortmund carrying the local football team as it was travelling to the stadium for its Champions League match. 3 explosions hit Borussia Dortmund bus in the evening as it left from the hotel to the stadium. Dortmund were due to play Monaco in the quarter-final match, but the game has been postponed. One of the Dortmund players, Marc Bartra, was hurt. He underwent an operation after breaking a bone in his wrist. No other players were hurt. Dortmund police said it was a targeted attack on the team. So far, no one has claimed responsibility for the attack. Prosecutors said a letter had been found near the scene of the blast, but declined to give details of its content and said it was not clear whether it was authentic. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said that the football organizing body condemned the incident.
Heute Abend um kurz nach 19 Uhr ist es zu 3 Explosionen in der Nähe des BVB-Mannschaftsbusses gekommen. Der BVB-Mannschaftsbus hatte gerade das Hotel verlassen, welches hier am Schirmannweg in Dortmund-Höchsten liegt. Der Schirmannweg ist die Zu- und Abfahrtsstraße zum Hotel. Im Bereich dieses Weges hat es 3 Explosionen gegeben. Durch
And on to sports. Star Indian shuttler PV Sindhu will lead India's challenge at the Singapore Open. The world number 2 will start her campaign against the unseeded Nozomi Okuhara in the women's singles opening round today. Nozomi and Sindhu have met 5 times in competitive fixtures, with the Japanese holding the edge with 3 wins. Earlier, Saina Nehwal had pulled out of the tournament due to injury. In the men's category, Kidambi Srikanth, B. Sai Praneeth and Ajay Jairam will be in action. Saurabh Verma also qualified for the main draw on Tuesday after a straight-set victory in the quarterfinals. And that's all we have for you in this edition of Breakfast News. Keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.